welcome back to another episode of Market Markup. This is Lance, co-founder of BH Capital Enterprises, where I teach people how to navigate the markets using price action. What I've been doing for the month of July is challenging myself to do one chart breakdown every day and posting it to my channel to see, just for one, to just see where the price goes, and mainly to practice my craft and to try to get better every day. So it's also teaching me discipline, which is something that, I could use a lot more of, and being consistent. So every day I sit down and I do my best to put out a video. Um, I definitely want to try to start getting them out toward the beginning of the day rather than the end of the day. So this one is actually day 9. Um, and in the spirit of looking at meme stocks, I'm choosing GameStop for today's session. And I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into the yearly chart for GameStop. So GME is the ticker. Um, Kind of similar to AMC, which I did in the previous video, where you had a lot of consolidation for several years, and then boom, all of a sudden it just really popped off in 2021. So the level that I'm going to mark first off is 2020's closing price, which was 1884. So I'm gonna go there. Okay, there we go. So 2020 close. Also looking at this 49 to 63 area, but it's a little less significant right now considering where the price is currently. So I'm just not even gonna. Well, yes, I will. I will. I'm just gonna go ahead and mark the top side of that zone. So about right at 62. We'll say. Okay. Let me show that on the right. All right. So there we go. Um, Yeah, so the yearly chart is, clearly in the market, the phase 2 of the market cycle, that being the markup phase, which is a bullish phase. No telling how long this could last, but it's really too early to know. But already we see that there's been some strong selling pressure um, since that price popped up to the all-time high of 483. And it's been kind of, every time I kind of glance at it, it's been hanging out below 200. Um, so, I'm not sure where that pivot area would be, but we'll discover that on some lower time frames. But I'm just going to head on to the monthly chart in just a second. But same thing that I was mentioning in the AMC, on the AMC chart, where, if this was something that you were watching on a regular basis, you definitely could have, gotten in on this opportunity without even knowing, um, really before the whole Reddit stuff started to take off, you know what I'm saying? So that's when I say that, you don't necessarily need a narrative. You can just kind of look for things in the chart, and then a lot of times the narrative comes, after that. But clearly you see in 2020, we had a GMC shows, or GME, sorry, GME shows a bearish trend line break, and then it just really, really, really took off from there. So I mean, you could have gotten in 2020 when the price hit about $13, $14 and just kind of, held on. But yeah, let's move on to the monthly chart. Okay, so here on the monthly chart, you can see it, a lot better where it crossed that trend line, that bearish trend line back in September. Uh, Really, it crossed it. I was saying $14 on the yearly chart, but on this monthly chart, I mean, you could have got in a lot lower than that, like mid about $5 to $8. Um, Once the price got above that 2020 close is when it really, really, really took off. But what I'm seeing right now is a like a symmetrical triangle type situation going on right now. So I'm just gonna draw that. So this pattern, kind of um, tends to be kind of neutral. So you can see the price either consolidate out of here, or it could be bullish, or it could be bearish. But either way, just something to keep an eye on. But by August, September, we should see some sort of resolution um, about where this price may be headed. So like I said, anything can happen coming out of there. Um, but that's really all I'm seeing here on the monthly chart. But if it consolidates out of here, I would say that I would watch probably this 235 area. Um, Actually, I'm gonna just do a rectangle here. So yeah, probably about this 175 to 235 area. And then I'm just gonna do a little text note so I know exactly what this represents. Okay, so possible range if it consolidates out of this pattern. I'm gonna move this over so you can see it a little better. Spread this out a little more. I'm gonna come out here. Didn't mean to do that. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna make the letters here white and bold and just slightly bigger. Take the text note. I meant the text arrow off because I don't need it. So yeah, possible range if it consolidates out of this pattern. Um, so basically, these are a couple areas that I would keep an eye on. No, that's terrible. It's terrible. Can't really see that very well either. Now let's just take it back to gray. Okay. So possible range, if it consolidates out of that pattern, that's approximately about 175 to 235. So that's an area that I would, watch over the next couple of months. Um, yeah, I mean, if it's able to beat that 235, then I may consider a long position. And I forgot to mention this in the beginning. I don't have any positions in GameStop currently, whether it be options, stock, none of that in my portfolio at this time. And then, of course, a breakdown below that 175 range area may be some opportunity for some bearish positions. Of course, this is not any type of investment advice. This is strictly for entertainment purposes only. But just a couple of, just an area of interest at this point in time. Um, let's see, let me get a screenshot. Take a screenshot there. And either way, even if it doesn't consolidate out of this pattern, you still want to kind of watch this 235 and this 175-ish area. So especially over the next, like I said, next couple of months, from here on into September, we could see a possible move, whether it be bullish, bearish, or just consolidating. But regardless of what it does, watch this area. Um, let's move on to the weekly chart and see if we see anything else. All right, so the weekly chart, we can see it a lot better. How it's the price is holding above this trend line and holding below this trend line, and you can see where it's starting to consolidate a bit. We got some lower lows and some lower highs going on. So just watch it as it's approaching the bottom of this trend line, which is that 175-ish area. But historically, every time it hits it, it bounces from there. You can see back here in February, had a strong move up toward the top, rejected that, came back down, and retested this area, bounced a little bit, came back down and retested again, had a nice strong bounce, and is on a current downtrend from that area. So, does it, do the same thing, or will it break down this time? That's the question. So that's the thing that we are watching for on this time frame. Uh, I don't necessarily see much else. I'd watch, if the price moves above that 235 area, that this 248 level would be one to watch as well. So let's draw a couple of price levels here, and we'll call this one. This one will be our pivot on weekly. Right. This color. Here we go. So pivot on weekly, and then this will just be another weekly price level to watch. Okay, so that's our next level, symmetrical triangle breakout. And I'm just going to make this one orange. We're going to show it on the right. Okay. As far as the bearish side, if it breaks this 170, this 170s area, then I'd be watching for the price to head toward 150s. And then we're just gonna do pretty much the same thing that we did on the top side. All right, so next level triangles, symmetrical triangle breakdown. Oh, didn't show it. Show on the right. Okay. All right, so those are a few levels that I pay attention to on the weekly chart. Um, Mainly this area here, and then once these areas are cleared, then some other levels would come into play. But for now, this would be the area that I would be watching. As you can see, for the majority of this year, that's where the price has been concentrated. Let's grab a screenshot and move on to the daily chart and see what we can see there. We see any developments. Here on the daily chart, you can clearly see that bullish trend along the bottom. You got the lower highs, I mean higher lows happening, um, but the price is starting to have those less wild swings as it's getting toward or closer to the apex of the triangle. So again, like I said, we should see some sort of resolution over the next couple of months, maybe August, but September at the latest. Um, so yeah, I mean the same thing that I mentioned on the weekly chart it holds true for this daily chart. So pay close attention to those levels that I provided, and remember that with such a pattern as this, it's pretty neutral. So I've seen symmetrical triangle breakouts, I've seen breakdowns, and I've seen the price just kind of consolidate right through the apex of that triangle. So be open to anything happening, any one of those scenarios happening. We know one of those three has to happen. And we have a pretty good idea of when that will happen. So just keep your eyes peeled. Just keep your eyes peeled, especially if you like to trade um, these types of stocks. Like I said, I don't really trade them. I've never traded GME before. It's just a little too nutty for my taste. But if that's your cup of tea, have at it. But do it strategically. But uh, again, I appreciate you guys watching. Like I said before, if you would like for me to check out any other tickers, I'd be happy to do so. So leave them in the comment section. Be sure that if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do me the favor and yourself the favor of subscribing, hitting that like button, hit that share button, leave a comment, whatever you feel compelled to do. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for your time and your attention. And I'll catch you in the next episode of Market Markup.